Hello, everyone. My name is Magriet Mouton, and I'm coming to you live from Johannesburg, South Africa. And on the line with me today, I have got Scott Tapson. And Scott is currently doing his lockdown in the island, or on the island of Mauritius, just off the coast of South Africa. Scott is a talent and sourcing manager yeah, in Mauritius. Now, Scott, tell us how does life on the island feel during lockdown?
Yeah, it's an interesting time, I think, for all of us. Having to adapt to new ways of work and new ways of living. Being a teacher now, as well as a husband and a father. So it's interesting, but it's a kind of a cruel torture actually when you can see the sea, but you're not allowed to go near it. So it's an interesting time.
Yeah, I can't even imagine just seeing the ocean and at least you've got a beautiful view. So yeah. I guess that's all good. So Scott, what we've been experiencing is something quite unique. There's COVID-19. You see all the reports coming in from America and Europe and so on, and then we never thought it could happen to us. But then, we start hearing of the first cases in our own respective countries, and suddenly the country says that we're going into lockdown. It's got an effect on businesses, and it's got an effect on our personal lives. And your kids are staying at home, and as you say, you now need to start fulfilling different roles.
Yeah.
And in these times, we saw that each of our strengths, and when I say strengths, I refer to CliftonStrengths, gets amplified. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about how you experienced this past weeks? I think it's over 6 weeks now, with what's happening with you personally and in Mauritius.
Yeah, I think it's, as I said, it's been an interesting time. We've had to roll the punches and adapt to the changing environment. The CliftonStrengths, I mean, I'm quite new to it. I did it while I was on lockdown. I did my assessment while on lockdown. So it's been a good learning experience as well. I've seen different elements of it pop up in my day-to-day. Having to deal with different tasks at work and taking on different hats within the work environment as well as in the home environment. You can really see the different strengths pop up and take over in some areas, and really defines my preferences of how I approach tasks and how I approach the different situations that we're experiencing.
Scott, now CliftonStrengths gives us what they call signature themes, and it's basically your top 5 strengths, and that defines the way that you mostly think, feel, and behave in certain times. Now, with so many restrictions, and us being restricted not to move around, we can't see our colleagues, we can't, we can't get that hug in the morning, or that handshake that we usually get and that we've become so accustomed to, and which really formed part of us building a relationship. With that being taken away at this moment, I'm quite interested to learn how your strength was amplified and how you're using your strengths, in this time. And for the folks that's watching or viewing this interview, I'm going to put Scott's top 5 strengths up on the screen. And Scott, you've got restorative, empathy, developer, harmony, and relator as your top 5. And what we're seeing here is that you're quite a relational guy with a touch of execution that comes up there as well. Yeah. And so how has lockdown impacted your ability to build relationships?
I think it's just we have to approach it differently. So whereas, in the past, I'm quite involved with a lot of people through virtue of my job. So I'm interacting with a lot of different people daily in the normal context. Now, that's a little bit different. But yeah, we have daily meetings, Zoom meetings, and we have quite a close-knit team that we stay in contact with. And I'm still taking the opportunity to chat with different people and try and build relationships that way. I mean, virtually or through email, or whatever the case is, to try and satisfy those needs, I guess, to an extent, and continue to build the relationships and have that close contact with people. And I think also through the nature of the job, being in human resources, as much as I don't have all the face-to-face, there's still very much a need to make decisions, people-oriented decisions, and that also helps, build, maybe not direct relationships, but where you understand that your decisions and the tasks that you're involved in is having an impact on people, positive impact on people in most cases. That also helps, with that need.
Fantastic. Now, Scott, your number one strength is restorative. Now, people
Yes.
with restorative love problems. And it's not only for the sake of problems, it's that they're actually looking for solutions the whole time. So I guess your restorative was basically on steroids. These 6, 7 weeks where, I mean, there's so many problems that's not only facing your company, but it's facing it's facing your kids, your relationships, and then globally. So when people with restorative can't find solutions to problems, they get quite frustrated. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think you're right. It has been on steroids, as you say. There's been a lot of issues or problems, I guess. But through those, there's opportunities to get involved in different tasks, which is good. There's a lot of ambiguity in the times that we're in, and uncertainty. We don't necessarily know, what's going to happen tomorrow, because the situation is changing daily or by the minute, essentially. So it can be a bit frustrating, not knowing or not being able to solve all the problems, or get all the homework done, or get everything done in a day, whatever the case is. But we just have to try our best and just try and tackle each task as it comes, and take on each problem as it comes, and take the opportunity to fix and solve them, or to get involved, and then work through it slowly and gradually, I guess.
Yeah, that's such good insight that you have there. And I, as someone who doesn't have restorative even in my top 10, I really feel for you. At this moment, in this point of time, or at this point of time. So, Scott, you also have a strength called empathy. Now, if there's one strength that I would have loved to have in my top 5 right now, it would have been empathy, because we so need this strength to show up with employees, with spouses, with in relationships, and so on. And in the beginning, I didn't really have a lot of empathy with people around me, but I realized that if there's one thing that I need to have now, it is that empathy. And people with empathy experience the emotions of people around them. Now, being in HR, I mean, you've got a whole company of employees who is in uncertainty, and a lot of emotions are boiling up. Tell us, how are you using your empathy? How did you experience other people's emotions? I'd love to hear.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough time, and I think if you look at the economic impact on businesses and on people, I think a lot of people are going through pretty hard times. So, as an employer, or as a member of a company, you need to take decisions that put people at the center, and I think that's what we've been trying to do. And it's also just about being there to talk as well. Sometimes you don't have the answers. I can't use my restorative strength to help or to solve a problem, but you just got to be there to listen and kind of allow people to vent out their frustrations and uncertainty, and just work through it. we don't have the answers to everything. We can't have the answers to everything, but we just have to be there for each other and work through this tough time. And I think that's what I've been doing. It's being in contact with friends, with family, trying to help them through this, just by being there to listen, or just understanding what they're going through, and adjusting my responses to situations accordingly. So it's also about, I think, because I understand, or I feel that I understand people's situations, I can respond or can advise or talk to them in a way that suits their need at that point in time. So I think that's quite important, and I've been able to do that with, as I said, friends, family, colleagues, staff in the company.
Your company is so lucky to have you with that empathy strength, and I think, if people can leverage off that strength and use it, to just soothe their emotions and create a little bit of calm, even if it's just for a little time. What a way to use the strength of empathy. That's quite amazing.
And I think just to add on is that I think everyone needs that emotional break every so often. It's you find, during the day you're busy with work and you kind of concentrating, you're getting through your day, but at night when you switch off and you calm, that's when your mind starts triggering all the negative thoughts and all the thoughts about what if and what could be and what's going to happen, and that's when we just need to understand that that's when people kind of can unravel or can start doubting themselves or doubting situations, whatever the case is. And we just need to keep focused and keep on doing what we're doing, and the end will be good if we just keep on doing that, I guess.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting, Scott, because I know that through the stuff that we read and so on, people have been calling for more empathy in the workplace, more empathy from managers and so on. For the last 3, 4, 5 years, I'm admittedly not an expert, in the area, but when we work with the strength stuff and employee engagement and so on, that is certainly a topic that comes up. And suddenly we are thrown into this time where, for people who don't have empathy, it's a real struggle, and when empathy starts bubbling up to the surface and just meet people where they are emotionally, it becomes a beautiful picture.
Yeah,
I really envy you. Scott, now you also have the strength of developer. Now, people with developer love to see others grow, and they get a real satisfaction with seeing people develop and grow and so on. How have you satisfied that need in the last 6 weeks, 6 or 7 weeks?
Well, it's a bit of a challenge as well, because with remote work here and not being able to have kind of contact with people and kind of visualize progress made, we have to be you have to just change the way you would normally develop someone or work with someone to improve. But that being said, we as an HR function, we've all had to take on different hats. So obviously suddenly different elements of our function have become more critical: safety and health, other elements that require immediate focus, and it's been an opportunity for us to take on different projects. So whilst we might not be developing in our current role, we're developing as individuals or as professionals by taking on different tasks and being able to assign different types of duties and functions to staff and employees to get the broader project done. So we haven't necessarily been able to develop, as I said, normal job specific functions, but we're able to develop ourselves professionally in terms of broadening our net. And I think that's been quite satisfying, as being able to give different prerogatives or different objectives to people that they wouldn't in the normal course of business be involved in, and watching them excel. That's been pretty interesting and pretty I think good for the business and good for the individual as well, to show that they can work outside of their normal box and take on different tasks and actually deliver.
Well, that's quite exciting, Scott. It's and kudos to the company, and the way that you got thought out of the box to actually make that possible. I think that's quite amazing, and yeah, as I said, what an amazing opportunity for you to be able to do that. Now, Scott, your fourth strength is harmony. Now, people with
Yeah.
harmony, they love consensus. They, they want to bring people, together where there's different opinions. They want to see where's the common ground. Now,
Yeah.
this can be, the strength of harmony can be amazing, not only at work but at home as well. So, how have you seen harmony pop up or be amplified, during this time at home?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as I said, my wife and I take on the role of teacher. We have a 5-year-old and a 4-year-old, so I think that strength is being really tested at this point in time. It's been challenging, and I think that's just it. We have to find common ground. You can't, there's work objectives, and there's also school tasks and homework that my kids have, but you have to find the middle ground. We have to deliver on the work responsibilities, and we have to deliver on kind of the school and the other elements of our household, but you can't put stress and pressure on I guess everyone just to kind of satisfy your own needs. What I mean by that is that a 5-year-old can't sit and focus on homework for 5 hours, whatever the case is. We need to be flexible. We need to try and negotiate, I guess, and find the common ground and make our work life and our personal life and our teaching life kind of cohabitate and kind of coexist, throughout the day. It's been an interesting time. It's not always able to find the harmony. Sometimes we need bribery to get things done at home, but it's been interesting.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Scott, your fifth strength is relator, and people with relator have a need to connect on a one-on-one basis with people. They love to work with people who they can trust, and they've got they don't have, like the woo strength, a lot of friends, a wide variety of, or a large network, but they've got 3 or 4 really close friends that they live with, and or do life with, rather.
Yeah.
So how are you experiencing your related strengths and focusing on, not only focusing but satisfying the need to connect with the people around you?
Yeah, I think from a personal perspective, I think I'm probably more connected with friends than I have been, previously. You don't have all the hustle and bustle of kind of the normal routine that we had previously. So yeah, we're still connecting, and there's technology that's come out over the last kind of couple of weeks or months from a virtual connection perspective has been quite interesting. With work, I've been able to work quite closely with a few of the team members on different projects that we've needed to launch. So that's been quite good. As much as we're not having the physical interaction, we've been able to rely on each other and kind of work together to get to launch projects and to get things done. And it's been, it's again, I think the whole kind of theme of this whole time that we're in now is about rolling the punctures and just kind of adapting to the changing situation. We can't have a 100% set routine. We can't have a 100% set kind of way of doing things. We have to adapt and modify and change. So virtual technology is amazing. As I said, it's allowed me to connect with the people that's important. Luckily, my most important people are with me in the house, my wife and my kids. So that's always been good. That's always helps satisfy that strength too.
Brilliant. That's excellent, Scott. As we come to the end of this interview, is there something that you would just like to say to the audience? and now when I ask this, I'm specifically thinking about your empathy team. Maybe a tip for people with who struggles with empathy, like me.
Yeah, it's a hard one. As I said, it's a changing environment, and I think we just have to understand at this time that everyone's going through and experiencing this different. No one is having the same experience at all. Even between my wife and I, we're experiencing this whole time differently. And we just have to kind of, I guess, understand that and embrace the differences and find a middle ground to coexist and to kind of not kill each other. And yeah, there's always light at the end of the tunnel, and we just have to focus on that and work towards it. Do what we can today, and tomorrow we'll continue.
Yeah. And what I love about strengths is it gives you sort of a relational shorthand so that you know what you're working with and how each person thinks, feels, and behaves. And I think that can really help in this time of uncertainty. You don't have to guess; you can see it on paper.
Yeah, and I mean also this time is a good time to reflect as well. I mean, I've used it a lot to understand. As I said, I've done a strengths test about 2-3 weeks ago. And it's been a good time for me to reflect about my strengths and how they show up in different areas of my life, and how they define decisions I make and how I get involved in different projects and tasks. And it's been a good time to reflect on myself and to see what's important and understand how I can continue to grow as an individual and professionally and personally. There's always a positive to the situation. We just have to find it and focus on it, I guess.
That's so true. Scott, thank you very much for your time. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
No, that's an absolute pleasure. Folks, if you're interested to learn more about CliftonStrengths, you can visit our website, bhgroup.africa. Scott, all the best for you, for your family, and for the company. As we navigate through the aftermath of COVID-19.
Thanks, and you too. And look forward to working with you in some projects in the future.